Earth is flat.
Hi there all, hope you're having a great day. Today I'm going to do a response video to a video that Mr. Thrive and Survive threw up. It's called A Few Questions for Ball Earth Believers. Now, I haven't been watching many Flat Earth videos lately. I really got sick of hearing the same drivel over and over again. And honestly, this guy probably infuriates me and insults my intelligence more than any other flat earther out there. And so I hardly watch any of his videos. So I thought I'd watch this one because, you know, it's a few questions and I thought I might have been able to answer them. But to be perfectly honest with you, on the onset of this video, I just want to say that I feel at this point, and I've felt it for a while, that this guy is not seriously a flat earther. It's more, his channel is just more of a satire, you know, a sort of a poking a bit of fun at flat earth, because some of his explanations and whatnot are just ridiculous. Anyway, we'll get to the video and I'll answer some questions. Oh, initially too, he rants on about the relationship between the breakdown of our government and the flat earth, but there's really no relationship between the government and flat earth. Flat earth is bullshit. The problems in government have to do with money and corporate sort of ruling over the government and everything else, and that's about that. So we'll get to the video.
Hey everyone, we're supposed to thrive and survive. You know what, you people that believe in the globe model and science, you freaking amaze me. You really freaking amaze me. It is just amazing how much cognitive dissonance people will do to themselves. And I gotta get that video up that shows why it happens and why people do that to themselves, just so they can conform and keep to their previously held belief systems. It's really...
So yeah, he just goes on with a bit of a paranoid rant about it all, and that we're all, you know, just sheep and we've had the wool pulled over our eyes and whatnot. Incidentally, I will leave a link to this video in the description if you want to go and check it out.
Incredible. And the only reason why it actually angers me is because things that the government does to you because of that, because they know this, is why government has become what it has become today, such a tyrannical piece of crap that it is. Look at the two candidates for president. That's all I got to say there.
Thank God for that.
Look at this. They look like a freaking circle to you. This is the first television picture from space.
Does that look like a freaking circle to you? It looks like an oval, not a circle. Anyway, we'll keep going.
From the Tyros satellite, April 1st, 1960. People should have realized it way back then. This is as close as I can get a circle to fit this thing.
Now, the diameter of that oval is not nearly big enough, and it's not a circle anyway, but it's not nearly big enough to fit the arc that is the edge of that image. So this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. His explanations and reasoning just infuriates me. I feel that it's just a big satire, it's just a joke, because that circle's not nearly big enough.
Right here. You see how off the screen it is? See how it's got a nice pot belly down here, a nice little bulge coming down? Maybe this...
Now that little bulge, I would imagine, is distortion due to the camera lens that took the image initially.
This is the pear shape that Gross talks about. But that'd be okay, except for all the images after that showed a perfect sphere. Here's a perfect sphere.
A perfect sphere that is not nearly the diameter of the sphere in the image.
I mean, you people freaking amaze me. You really do. About as best as you can get right there. Unbelievable. That's not all though. Let's continue with the questions here. Most of this is me asking you questions in this video. There's just a couple things I have to point out first. Here's another one. This absolutely is like, I don't know. You're going to have to, here's my question here. How can you justify the difference in North America between two different pictures from space from NASA? Earth, the exact same size. Look at the size of North America here. Freaking humongous. And yeah, we all know most Americans need to go on a diet, but I didn't know the continent did. I'm going to make this, you see what's happening here? I'm shifting to something that's right under it. See how they're the same size? Ball. Now let me take the top one and drag it off so you can see. Look at North America now. It's tiny. It's tiny now. Look at that. You can fit that almost twice into this. Look how tiny Florida is compared to gigantic Florida here. North America takes up about, let's cut the disc in half. It takes up maybe 25% of the top half of the disc. Let's cut it in half here. It takes up like 70% of the top half. In fact, let me actually go ahead and do that. Does that make it more clear for you people that have serious cognitive dissonance?
So it looks like he's got me here, but I'm afraid to tell you he hasn't. And there is a very, very good and valid explanation as to how this happens and what actually happens. And what it's got to do with is the point at where the camera was, or the distance the camera was away from the Earth when the image was taken in each case. In this instance, the camera that took the image of the Earth was much closer. So it actually seen less of the globe. So it makes the continent appear larger. Now I am going to put a link to a video that I done some months ago that adequately explains this. I do a demonstration that shows how it works. I'll leave the link down here in the corner, and we'll let the video continue, and I may add some commentary on this particular question a little further down the track.
Look at this one here. Almost the entire quarter of the disc, not North America, a little teeny piece in the northeast part. Look at how much water is here. Almost a third, actually over a third, almost half of the remaining quadrant is water. This thing takes up all but out here, this part, and here.
So he's paused it and he's put up there, only an idiot would swallow this, you know, and he carries on about a bunch of other rubbish. But literally, the distance at which this image was taken, I would assume would have been much closer than what the distance was when this image was taken. The camera may have been much further back in comparison to this one. I don't know what he's doing.
This North America is over half of this quadrant and over half of this quadrant. It's about 5% of this quadrant and about 40% of this quadrant at most. People say, well, look, North America is more in the middle here. Well, if you rotate this around, it ain't going to get that much bigger, folks. It can't take up more of the ocean than this freaking thing. Look at this. And you think this is the same freaking thing.
It is the same freaking thing. It's just the camera was much closer in this instance compared to this instance.
And you can go even deeper than this. When you look at this, South America, how its orientation is to North America is totally different. Florida is just unbelievably huge compared to what it is here. It's a little teeny dot. And you think this is the exact same Earth. Now, how can you justify that? That's a question right there. How can you justify that? Huh? You people are unreal to want to believe in that. But everything science tells us is the truth, Rich.
Well, maybe science isn't trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Maybe you're just paranoid and delusional about some big conspiracy theory.
Inclination 5¼ degrees. That's the most the moon is ever inclined above, supposedly where the Earth is inclined to the sun.
Now, his explanation here was very shady. He's talked about the moon's orbit's inclination to the Earth's orbit inclination, which is 5.14 degrees. Then he referred to the actual tilt orbit if you look at his cursor, but then he ends up adding up the actual tilt orbit of the moon to its inclination, to its orbit inclination, to our orbit inclination, and then tries to make an argument out of this.
Actual tilt to orbit, 6.68 degrees. What do? You add these two numbers together. The farthest it's off one way and the actual tilt to orbit. So the most they could ever be off from a true east-west inclination to the Earth would be 11.82 degrees.
Yeah, dead wrong. So what he's done is he's added up the wrong numbers. Sure, the inclination of the moon is an important one to the Earth's orbit. The other important number is the actual tilt orbit. The axial tilt orbit is going to change where the moon appears at different seasons. The inclination orbit is going to have an influence on that also. So he should have added up 23.44 and 5.14 to give the maximum inclination that the moon could be off from the east-west plane on Earth as an observer. So he's stuffed up again.
At the most, 11.82 degrees. So, at the absolute most ever, when the moon's phases, if it's caused by the sun, let me switch to that one now. If the moon's phases, see how it grows from east to west?
So now he's going on about the moon's phases. It's just unrelated. Where the moon appears in the sky, as far as its inclination from the east-west plane is concerned, really has no bearing on the phase, but for some reason he thinks there's some massive relationship there.
And then it wanes from west to east, or east to west?
What it does have to do with, the phases are influenced by where the moon is in comparison to the sun as observed from Earth. As far as the orbit's concerned, sure, it's going to have a very small effect, but for all intensive purposes, if the moon is on the far side of the Earth in comparison to the sun, the moon is going to appear full. If the moon happens to be around here at right angles, so at 90 degrees, say coming straight out towards us or thereabouts, the moon's going to appear roughly about, first quarter, last quarter. If the moon happens to be around on this side, between the Earth and the sun, it's going to be a new moon and you won't see it at all. Or possibly you could have a solar eclipse if you happen to be in the right place. Obviously this isn't to scale. The distances are much bigger. The moon is too big. The sun's not nearly big enough in comparison to the Earth.
Still, it wanes from west to east as well, sorry. Here I've drawn it as close as I can. Once you fix the Earth to the elliptical orbit around the sun, and I've gotten as close as I can. I actually cheated 1.5 degrees more in favor of the global view. How can the moon ever not grow white from east to west? It can't. Could it ever be white on the top half Not the bottom half. Nope, never. Not more than 11 degrees. You might have an 11-degree tilt here. Let me try to show that.
And that tilt that he keeps referring to, and it's not the 11-degree tilt, but the, 5.14 degrees, is actually the reason why you don't get solar and lunar eclipses every month, because of that tilt. And the distances involved makes it actually occur that the moon doesn't always go directly between the sun and the earth, and the earth's shadow is small enough that the moon can actually avoid it, or not deliberately avoid it, but the moon misses the shadow more often than not because of that tilt that he's got here. So that's why lunar and solar eclipses don't happen all the time.
Okay, you see that line? That's about an 11-degree tilt right there. That's the most we should ever see the moon from an east-west inclination. Likewise, from the moon, if you're an observer on the moon looking at the earth, now when it's over in this direction and it's a full moon, what is it to the earth? The moon would look upon a new earth, so you couldn't see any light on the earth at all. When it's all the way over on this side, it would be a full earth and a new moon. Do you understand that? But from the moon's viewpoint to the earth, it's a mirror image. It can never be more than 11.6 degrees off of growing east to west. Now,
and that's where he's wrong, because it's got to do with the seasons and whatnot, and that 23.44 degrees that the Earth spins on in relation to its orbit. That has a bigger effect than the actual moon's inclination to the Earth's orbit.
You understand that? I've got a question for you with the globe model. Now, just to show what I'm saying is true, here's what the Dingleberries gave us as Pac-Man views of Earth and the moon. When you should look at this picture close up. It looks like Pac-Man. Anyway,
that is the shittiest low-res image I've ever seen. He must have scanned it from a magazine or something, and that's why it looks so messed up.
Yeah, that's a nice straight line on the Earth, isn't it? Unbelievable crap. People believe it. I eat it up. Anyway, here's the Earth and the moon in one view. Can you see what I mean? As it goes around, when the moon is over here, it's not going to see any light on the Earth. When it starts seeing the light again, it's going to grow from the moon's perspective. It grows from the same side, east to west, the exact same way. That's maybe west to east. I don't know. I'm not great with perspective, but I know one thing.
What he just said then is the most truth that he's spoken in all of his videos, in all of the time that I've ever watched this guy's videos. He said, my perspective is not great. Can we hear that again? I'll just go back and we'll hear.
I don't know. I'm not great with perspective, but I know one thing.
He's not great with perspective. And then he tries to explain things away all the time.
You're never going to have the top half of the Earth lit or the bottom half lit as long as the lunar surface, you're taking a picture and the lunar surface is under you. Cannot happen. So here's the dimwit showing you supposedly what it looks like from deep space. Can't see any stars, but you can see these.
Actually, that looks like a star there. I don't know.
So here's a picture called Earth, called First View. First View. With the lunar surface under your feet. I don't care where you are on the moon. The moon's lit though. How can the Earth be the orientation of the Earth be north-south lit dark?
Well, actually, the orientation of the Earth in this instance is north-south this way. Now, I don't know which side would be north or south at this point, but that's north-south. I can guarantee that. Just by looking, because the Earth would have to be rotating in a manner like this. So the east-west directions would be this way, north-south this way.
How can that be? The moon's lit up. How can that be if the lunar surface is under there? Now, in case you forgot, let's switch over to this. Remember this? Earthrise. This is from...
Fuck me. Look, I don't know whether you can see that. Yeah, you can. There's stars there. They said that you can't see stars on the moon. And that's why it's all fake. Well, there's stars there. There's stars everywhere. If you look at... Go and watch the original video that he's put up. I'll leave the link in the description. And you can see stars. Amazing.
Apollo 8, just above the lunar surface, mapping out where Apollo 11 was going to land on the moon, all right? Which was on the front half of the moon. So with the moon under the feet, how do we have a north half lit Earth?
You don't have a north half lit Earth. The north-south plane runs in this direction, across here. The sun is in that direction. So the Earth is either rotating this way or that way. So this isn't the north half. He's got his perspective fucked up again. North is either down here or up here. If you were to work out what that landmass is, you could probably guess. I'll take a punt and say that north is on this side. This is the east-west plane, this way.
Dark half bottom. How is that possible in the globe model? How is that possible with it? That's my question for you. How is that possible on this model? I'll look forward to your answers. And I'd really like to know, people, that how can you justify this? How can you justify this as being the same Earth?
So I've answered all the questions. We're nearing the end of the video.
Unreal. Cognitive dissonance is, man, I wish I could bottle it for some sort of productive, well, the government's bottled it. They've been very productive in their deception. Thanks, guys. Take care.
So there you have it. I've answered the questions. Whether you like it or not, I don't give a shit, because I know that most flat earthers will give this a thumbs down. If you like what I'm doing, give it a thumbs up. The facts are the facts. I explained it. His idea of perspective is so messed up, and I honestly feel like it's satirical. Like he must know, you know. He's got to know. Anyway, have a great day. Leave your comments and questions in the comments section below. I'll catch you later. Have fun.